Hi, welcome to this typical muley production. Today's video is on the Whitetail Rut. We got some awesome action for you, some cool bucks. I hope you like this video. Let's get started. This sequence here is pretty cool. It's of this 9-point buck, and he gets after these bushes here and really starts to rub on them. And just a pretty cool sequence of some rut behavior. Beautiful buck. Nice younger buck, probably a 3-year-old, maybe 4. Just a beautiful whitetail buck. Some cool action. And he stops and he rubs this tree right here too, which is pretty cool. Just a cool sequence. Pipeline. This is a cool sequence here. This is a beautiful 10-point buck. He's got a little kicker off of his left antler there, and then both of his points on his right and left antler. He's got a couple of short ones that you may consider points, might not. They're just not very long, but just a cool buck. This is the only time I saw this buck. I was just following this doe on this frosty morning out in the middle of this stubble field, and it's a beautiful deer, kind of a cool sequence. Tell he's been mixing it up a little. He's got a lot of marks on his neck and his body, so he's definitely a fighter. It's just a cool buck. Blacktop. This is a cool sequence here. I call this deer Blacktop because he's got a dark forehead. He lives right by a busy freeway. And you'll notice here in just a second, this doe will bed down right here. These two are in lockdown. He's protecting this doe quite heavily. And throughout these next sequences of Blacktop, you'll notice he chases every other deer away. It doesn't matter if it's a buck, doesn't matter if it's a doe, doesn't matter how big of a deer it is. He's just kind of chasing them away. So a really cool sequence. You see that little spike buck show up right here. Right here, he's just urinating on his hocks there, just spreading his scent, kind of giving a dominant pose here. kind of goes over and he checks out this doe here and sniffs where she just got done peeing and gives a flaming response here just to see if she's in heat. Now this is a different doe than that one that laid down, so he kind of came over and checked that out, and in this sequence here is where he really starts protecting that doe that was laying down. He starts chasing some of these other deer away, so just cool, really cool sequences here of whitetail rut behavior and how they get territorial when they're courting a doe and on lockdown with the doe. See, some of those deer got too close to that doe, and he's letting them know that that's not all right. And in this clip, he chases away these deer. They're getting too close to the doe laying in the grass. 'Cause that doe still hasn't got up. She's still bedded down over there. See, these two deer right here get too close to his doe, and he chases them off. And then he heads back over to check on his doe again. Make sure she's still there. So right here towards the end, he just goes and checks her out, goes over by her and sniffs the air, makes sure she's still hanging out there. You can see him here looking at her. Just a cool sequence. Nine and a half. This buck I call 9.5 because he's a 10 point, but his one side's got like maybe a half-inch point, so I call him 9.5. He's not quite a 10 point. But anyway, he's over here and he's got this doe in this hedge here along this fence, bedded down that he's protecting. You never see her, but she's there. I saw her walk in there earlier. It's cool, this other buck here walks into the scene and he just kind of tells him to keep moving. And I've got 3 different sequences of 9.5. I saw him 3 different times. This was just the first time I'd seen him. Just a cool buck. Beautiful buck, old buck. And you can always tell it's him by his antlers, of course, but also by that scar he's got midway along his back there. Just a beautiful buck. Like I said, this deer is a really old deer too. He's an older buck. He's got that Roman nose. He's got quite a bit of mass. It's an older deer. Then here's another sequence of him. I caught him in another field, right along a roadway here. He was out with some other deer, kind of just checking out does. In this last sequence here, I caught him. It was almost dark, and he was in these people's yards chasing this doe. Just cool. It was good to see him. Again, beautiful buck. Narrows. This buck here is pretty cool. Just a nice 9-point whitetail buck. Really narrow, but got really cool, pretty long tines. Just a beautiful buck. Probably a 4-year-old. He's just gorgeous. I know this buck's not very wide, but man, is he cool. His tines almost touch there in the front. Just a beautiful deer. And I saw this deer a couple of times. This frosty morning, he was out chasing does, and there were does on the other side of the road. And he wanted to get to them. And there was another buck out there with him, and he was slowly making his way over to those deer. Cool thing about most of these sequences is most of these deer I saw, they were in, like suburban areas, pretty close to houses. Just a lot of whitetail in this area, and it's cool just to go out during the rut and see these deer. Beautiful deer. The nice thing is they're kind of used to humans, and so you can get pretty good footage of these bucks, and I just love to see them do their natural whitetail behavior. No pressure, not too skittish like most whitetails are, that aren't around people much. These guys aren't too skittish. And here's the second sequence. This is another day I caught him out in a field, and he was just out. There's a doe in this field, and I don't get her in this clip. He's out there kind of following her around, and there's another littler buck in the field too. But he's seriously one of the coolest whitetails I filmed this year. Just beautiful deer, cool antlers. Just beautiful mature whitetail buck. Jawbreaker. This is a cool 9-point buck here. Wide deer, really cool buck. And the reason I call him Jawbreaker is his lower jaw. There's something wrong with it. I'm not exactly sure what it is. He can eat fine. I watched him feed. Like, he eats just fine, but his lower jaw has something going on with it. And I saw this deer a number of times. I saw him on three different occasions, and each time he looked healthy. I saw him eat 2 of the 3 times I saw him. But in this sequence, he's out checking does out, and there's a couple other bucks in the field and these does, and it's just a pretty cool sequence. And this is another sequence I caught of him, and again, I was by a road here, so you'll see a few cars go by, but he was out in this field, and there was a doe laying down in this tall grass that he's by here, and he was just kind of guarding her. But yeah, you can see a little better in this footage his jaw, and I'm not sure what was going on with it. I don't know if it's a birth defect or what, but that's how he got his name of Jawbreaker. So just a beautiful deer, a young deer. I think he's only 3 years old. It's a beautiful whitetail buck. Some cool character to him. And you'll notice in the background in this sequence, there's a couple of other deer. There's a couple other bucks, and you watch this other buck behind him kind of chase away the other deer that you can see now. And it's just a cool morning, frosty, cold. The deer were rutting pretty hard this morning. It was a cool morning. In this last sequence, I caught him in the same field as the first footage, just on a different day. And again, he was just out checking does. Yeah, he's such a beautiful buck. Again, this is one of the coolest bucks I saw and definitely one of the most unique whitetails I saw and filmed this year during the rut. The big 8. This is probably the biggest deer I filmed all year during the rut. Just a beautiful whitetail buck. Handsome dude. He was out courting this doe. He was following her wherever she went. He went, and just a beautiful deer. Nice long tines. Beautiful 8-point. I got some wonderful footage of this buck. Some of my favorite pictures I got were of this deer, and actually one of the pictures that ended up in my top 20 is of this buck. And if you want to see that video, I'll put it down in the description. A beautiful deer, and check out his picture on my top 20. But back to the deer, he's just a beautiful buck, just out rutting this doe, and he doing a little flaming response here, and just a beautiful deer. Beautiful sunlight. This was early morning, the sun was just coming up. It was super frosty that morning, as you can see. Beautiful light, beautiful background, and one of the coolest sequences I had during my filming of the Whitetail Rut. Thanks for watching that video. I hope you liked it. Some pretty cool action there, some pretty cool bucks. If you liked it, subscribe, leave a comment, like, and remember to live in the moment, enjoy the memories. Thanks for watching.